Unipart U plays host to Britain's business leaders and 2 cabinet ministers. Jaguar's vision of customer service and how DCM is helping to achieve it. Unipart International teams up with Sainsbury's to help the motorist. New headquarters for Unicare's expanding business. Enterprising employees launch a new container services business at Honeybourne. Ghosts in the Machine, a reminder from UIT on computer security. Unipart U's reputation as a centre of excellence and an example for British industry to follow is rapidly spreading. The DTI chose it as the venue for their conference promoting links between Japanese and British manufacturers, at which John Neal and Professor Dan Jones both gave presentations. President of the Board of Trade, Michael Heseltine, addressed the conference and toured OAC and the U to see for himself world-class manufacturing techniques and learning opportunities.
I think the single most important message that I get out of this visit is the realization from the top management right the way through the company of the need to change. The need to change is a philosophy, it's an attitude of mind, it's a culture, and it has to go throughout the entire company, and you see that everywhere. I've, of course, known John Neal for some time and had many conversations with him, so I have some understanding, and so I wasn't coming here expecting to be told a whole new range of things that I'd never heard before. I was expecting to see much of what I did see, and was excited to see it manifested in real people and real ideas and real notice boards and real production lines. It is a company with a very formidable track record.
2 weeks later, Michael Portillo became the latest minister to visit UGC. OAC was his chosen background for an announcement of the UK's March unemployment statistics. And later, Mr. Portillo looked at OAC's manufacturing facilities and toured the U back at Unipart House.
Ministers tend to be shown the best, and I think Unipart is up there along with the giants. What I think one sees in the best is the spread of the idea of quality from top to bottom, the involvement of the workforce, both in the commitment towards the goals of the company and in the hands-on application of improvement on a day-to-day basis. So I think Unipart is there. Probably the orchard is something, is a facility of the sort that I've never seen before. Otherwise, what we're seeing here at Unipart, I think, is the application of the best global management techniques. But seeing the best global management techniques is not a very common experience.
DCM is continuing to find ways of delighting its customer Jaguar with better service at lower cost. Following the successful implementation of Baggington's direct service to French Jaguar dealers, Chairman Nick Shaler invited DCM to try a similar improvement for Jaguar in Italy. Previously, Jaguar had warehouses in Rome and Milan. Dealers ordered from the warehouse, which ordered from Baggington if the item was out of stock. Urgently wanted emergency parts to repair cars off the road could take 3 days just to reach the dealer. DCM's new service means that Italian dealers can order directly on Baggington via computer, and the parts are air freighted out to arrive next day. There's a later cut-off time for dealers to place orders, a potential availability improvement of 2%, and less time that the car owner has to spend without his Jaguar. It also means big cost savings for Jaguar, as the 2 warehouses are no longer required. In a further enhancement to the service to Jaguar North America, DCM is hoping to install teleconferencing links with their opposite numbers across the Atlantic to make working together easier and quicker. During a recent visit, Jaguar's Dale Gamble saw a demonstration of how the video links might work, and he went on to describe how DCM's efforts are contributing to Jaguar's vision of world-class customer service.
I have a vision that we're going to be #1 in customer satisfaction in the United States. And I want to be able to take that and work with a partnership and Unipart's sitting next to me, working as hard as I'm working on it. And then when we do hit number one, I want Unipart to say, yes, I feel we're number one because Unipart will be number one. And we're going to do it together.
Unipart International has teamed up with the AA, Krypton Engine Tuning and Sainsbury's to provide a service to motorists that will not only help the environment but drive business towards the Unipart car care centres. Sainsbury's chose Unipart as its partner because of the reputation of the brand and the coverage provided by the national network of car care centres. The initiative is in line with tough new government legislation aimed at cleaning up Britain's air quality through severe penalties for defective exhaust emissions. Here's how the Emissions Roadshow was launched in IMTV, the video news programme for Unipart car care centres.
One of the advantages of being a member of the Unipart team is that you get to benefit indirectly from many major promotions which the company is in a position to organise. A striking example of this is the Sainsbury Unipart Emissions Roadshow, which will be operating on the forecourt of shopping centres throughout the country. Motorists will be able to have their vehicle emissions tested completely free of charge and be given specialist advice on any problems which may be spotted. More importantly, they'll then be directed to their nearest Unipart car care centre. With 12 predefined areas and 3 sites per area, there is always the possibility that this might result in some extra business for you. But most importantly, it's designed to reinforce in the motorist's mind that Unipart, its products, services and everyone associated with the name are there to provide them with a first-class service.
Unicare continues to grow from strength to strength. The company has just notched up its 150,000th customer. The fast-evolving cellular communications industry now allows the transmission of data and facts. Unicare launched this service to its customers last month. The retail shop programme is also continuing to grow and has become a key route to market. To accommodate this growing business, Unicare has relocated into larger premises here in Abingdon. Only 6 years ago, the company was still on the Unipart house site with a staff of 56. Now the employees number 250, making Unicare one of the largest employers in the area. The new building includes Unipart U facilities for Unicare's OCC circles and other learning activities. Managing Director Des Keating said, "The speed of growth has exceeded all our expectations and is a tremendous tribute to the skill and dedication of our people. For the first time, we have a purpose-built environment which will help us to provide our customers with even better service in the future."
Employees in DCM have set up a new enterprise here in Honeybourne, creating new jobs and attracting external customer inquiries only weeks after opening. The new container services business will renovate and repair old and damaged roll cages and pallets and send them back into service with a new lease of life, thus saving the substantial costs of buying new ones. Amazingly, there are very few companies offering this specialist service, and even fewer using environmentally responsible methods, such as this water-based paint. This simple idea arose from a health and safety issue. The movable gates on old pallets can stick or jam, causing at best inconvenience or at worst possible injury, as well as ineffective protection for customers' products. DCM employees came up with a better design that stops the gate from sticking. Having renovated and improved one pallet, an idea dawned. Why not renovate more? On further discussion, it became clear that renovating old pallets could be an opportunity to start a standalone business. DCM put a proposal to the UGC board, who confirmed a £350,000 investment to fund the project. Here at Honeybourne, this dedicated facility was built. Working to a target of 48 stillages a day, or 11,000 in a year, the 11-strong container services team calculate they have 7 years' supply of work. And if you want to know what 7 years' worth of pallets and roll cages look like, well, just take a look at this. These rusting eyesores are being steadily transformed into as-new condition.
The pallets are remanufactured to conform with health and safety. They are then shot blasted for between 4 to 6 minutes. Then into the electrostatic spray booth where one coat of water-based paint is applied. Then they're taken into the volatile tunnel and they're touch dry within 10 to 15 minutes. At the end of that, there is a quality check that takes place. Externally, we've had Rover Cars, one of our exhaust suppliers, Bosel, and Industries, very interested in our process. As far as we can tell at the moment, we're sort of the only one doing it in the country. This whole process all in one building. It's a very good process and it gives a world-class product at the end of it. It's a very exciting project. As you said earlier, we've got sort of 7 years worth of work plus all the external interest, and this sort of project can expand who knows where.
10-0 partnership working successes are now flooding in faster than Grapevine can cover them. Redditch-based supplier Rulans provides a recent example. Rulans has been working with the Unipart International product cell on a new ordering and delivery system designed to stop the wild up and down swings in UI's demand pattern that have previously sometimes caused difficulties for Rulans' manufacturing capacity. Both sides of the partnership have looked at the problem afresh and abandoned traditional scheduling. Instead, Rulans studies UI stock movement patterns and makes its own decisions on what to send and when. As a consequence, the previous peaks and troughs are smoothed into a more manageable, continuous flow of product. This kind of openness of communication in sharing what were previously confidential records and trusting the supplier to make the decision unaided would have been much more difficult without the framework of 10-0. Progress has been so successful that employees from Rulans are now teaching other suppliers how to adopt the same approach.
We've actually had about 7 suppliers up here at the moment, and my understanding and my feeling is when they leave the place that they are very enthusiastic about the whole thing.
Well, it was really a development of rate-based scheduling. We were operating that with Rulans and realised that our divisional goal of 12 stock turns was not going to be achieved under that system. And so the team got together, both my team and the Rulans team, and developed a system whereby we could give them direct demand data and a simple calculation of the minimum and maximum we needed to keep our stock levels up. And that's really where the name min-max came from. We scrapped all the normal schedules and gave blanket order numbers for each part number across the range. And then this simple spreadsheet, which was originally manually constructed on a Lotus 123, was faxed once a week to the supplier. And they then use that. It makes it more flexible for production. It means that they don't have to send us a definitive number of parts each week, but they have to supply us between the minimum and maximum to keep our stock levels at the level we need to support our customers. And what was really impressive was that after 6 months, we'd moved from something like 4 stock turns with the Rulans product up to something approaching 9, and we'd reduced our inventory by over £200,000.
The new system we came up with was a scheduling system called the min-max, or so it's been named, that just gives the supplier the flexibility, total flexibility to supply into Unipart. It's reliable and it's flexible and it's very predictable. 10-0 actually focused our minds on the problem we had with the scheduling, and I think that very much brought it up in the daylight.
We very much believe we can take it further. The current developments that we're trying are to enhance it for each of our suppliers. Now, Rulans are at the forefront of helping us to develop that through the 10-0 framework, and we're actually looking this year to move the stock turns to 16. That's our target with Rulans, which is very, very steep, and it's above the divisional goal, but we think that's very achievable.
I think when 10-0 was first introduced and we all had the presentation given to us by John Neal, one or two of us, myself included, said, how much is this going to cost us? That certainly hasn't been the case whatsoever. We have found a lot of cost savings in our own business by adopting a sort of a philosophy of 10-0, where a lot of duplication took place, where both businesses could save cost, and that has that has helped our own business very much so, and also the tend to say philosophy has now been enhanced by ourselves in as much as we very much focusing on what is world class in terms of lean production methods, which we are now introducing into our own plant.
In February this year, the nightmare of every systems provider finally came true. UGC's computer infrastructure was attacked by a virus. Computer viruses are destructive programs that sneak into computer systems, often via unprotected floppy disks. And once in the system, the virus causes havoc by altering or destroying information. The implications for a business like UGC, which depends on its computers to maintain its service to customers, is potentially horrifying. Viruses can be very difficult to detect and remove, so obviously prevention is better than cure. In this instance, the virus is thought to have entered via a disk, possibly a games disk, brought in from home. How did you first discover that there was a virus in the system?
We were notified by 2 or 3 dealers out in the trade who
Was
said...
the dealers who picked it up?
Oh, yes, indeed. And they said, do you know you sent out the KISS update for February and there's a virus on it? And we said, oh no.
So did this mean the whole KISS system was affected?
It did.
Throughout the whole dealer network?
That's correct. We'd sent out 2,400 sets of discs to that number of dealers. So potentially we had a very serious problem on our hands.
And did it also affect UIT here in Unipart House?
Well, it affected the whole of Unipart House and the whole network, and we've got something like 1,500 PCs within this building.
Gosh, so what did you do?
Let's deal with externally first. We set up a team of UI and UIT people and said, we have a problem, it needs sorting. I gave them a brief, and we didn't know a lot of facts at that time. So we said, sort it, and they spent 2 days and 2 nights establishing the size of the problem and taking a lot of, using a lot of personal initiatives, and they sorted it. And as a result of that, the network was very pleased. And I know that because Frank Hemsworth, coincidentally, was out in the network at the time and saw this happening from their perspective. And we managed it very well, and we had very good feedback.
So they managed to track down the source of the problem and solve it within 2 days and 2 nights?
Indeed they did, and corrected it.
Good heavens. So John, you managed to sort the problem out for your external customers, but what about your internal ones?
Well, potentially 1,500 PCs contaminated with this virus, different technical problems, but same solution, put a team of dedicated people together and challenged them to sort out the problems, and this they did. Took longer because of the technical problems, but the viruses have now been cleared from all systems.
So what can people do to ensure that this doesn't happen again? Because it's clearly the utmost importance, isn't it?
The existing data security policy states quite clearly that games should not be brought in. But if people do bring in floppy disks with any software, including games, it must be virus checked.
Because the potential for harm is really quite frightening, isn't it?
It is. We were very lucky this time, and we can take it as a warning. But it could have destroyed our huge base of data. It could have stopped us processing orders. It could have stopped the business right across all of the divisions.
Nick Shaler visited Premier Exhaust for the first time last month to accept a cheque for a local charity that Premier employees had collected. While there, he took the opportunity to tour the factory and afterwards gave Grapevine his impressions.
I'm really impressed. What I've seen here is I've seen similar approaches in Japan. I've seen similar approaches in some companies in Europe, but very few, I would have to say. I think the impressive thing and the impression that will live with me is how involved people are. And that's, I think, the success criterion, really, for the future. Everybody's got to be involved in the success of the whole.
Following last month's coverage of Lean Machine 2, many viewers wrote in to express the wish that other sites could share in similar facilities. Whilst obviously UGC couldn't afford to replicate the Lean Machine facility on every site, employees are taking the initiative to find other solutions. For instance, this 9-hole golf course designed and built by the employees at Honeybourne, membership is now extended to all members of UGC, and a full-time professional golf coach has been appointed.
Complete Communications has won an IVCA award in the Best Documentary category for The Spirit of Cuba film shown on broadcast television last year. Few foreign film crews are allowed into Cuba, but this one had the permission of the country's leader, Fidel Castro. And, like the Calendar film made in Russia at the height of the Cold War, reflects Complete Communications' ingenuity in gaining access to locations previously thought unattainable. The Duke of York is the latest royal visitor to UGC. Accompanied by his Naval Air Squadron's commander, His Royal Highness Prince Andrew paid an informal private visit to Unipart House on the 28th of March. He met Frank Hemsworth to discuss arrangements for the helicopter display planned for the British Grand Prix later this year. Whilst here, the Duke took the opportunity to tour the U and see for himself something of the spirit of Unipart.
Good morning. This takes all the fun out of being able to lie on the telephone.
Well, that's all for this month. From Roy and myself, goodbye.